Welcome to the Multidimensional Intelligence Podcast. I am your host, your trusted voice of transformation, Clifton Pettyjohn. Join me as I engage in ingenious conversations with top creators from around the world who have embraced their dimensions of intelligence within their professional, personal, and spiritual paths of transformation. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Multidimensional Intelligence Podcast, where we have conversations that help navigate individuals to tap it into the dimensions of their intelligence. And once they tap into it, they can begin to exercise that intelligence in everyday life. That's right. We've tapped into our intelligence. And can I be honest with you? I'm still tapping into dimensions of my intelligence. The more and more I open myself up to me, I'm opening myself up to the dimensions that reside inside of me, that have been inside of me screaming out, Cliff, I want to be free. I'm learning how to free those dimensions so that I can begin to be everything that I was created to be. I can tap into that best self. Listen, let's do our breathing exercises. Take a deep breath in. Hold it. Breathe out. One more time, take a deep breath in. Sit with it. Breathe out. How does that make you feel? Does it make you feel lighter? Does it make you feel free? Does it make you feel as if you can't really explain how you feel because it's been a minute since you felt like that? I understand. What we've done is we went to your past. We got that energy that you keep devoting to circumstances and situations that happen in your past, success and failures that happen in your past, the things that you use to measure against what's going on now for you to decide if what you are doing right now is successful. We're going to get that energy. Then we're going to go to the possibility of the future. Why do we have to go to the possibility of the future? Because some of us get stuck in the possibility of the future that we never take time to be present enough to create that future. All right. So we're going to pull that here. We're going to merge it with the little bit of energy that we were devoting to the present. All right. So now all of that energy is here in the present. We merged those three energies and we've created synergy, which is ourself, which is again the multi-dimensions of who we are. And because we've tapped into that, because we're present, because we're not worried about anything else, because we're alert, we're able to take advantage of tools, techniques, strategies, and reminders that are going to help us even be more aware of who we are. You know what that is, guys? That is your best self. Your best self is not measured against any version of yourself, or anybody else. When you tap into your best self, you realize that you have everything that you need at your disposal right now. You have everything that you need in order to be successful. You have everything that you need in order to be effective in life right now. So my name is Clifton Pettyjohn. I am your trusted voice of clarity and transformation. I teach creators how to transform their lives through embracing the entirety of their best self. Now, we just talked about best self, but I want to go a little bit deeper with that best self because some of you are struggling with decisions that you made in your past. I was talking about being locked in your past. I've been there before. Trust me, understand. I have made some decisions that I struggled with for a while until I came to the reality of not that they were lessons learned. And I know we get to, I learned the lesson. No. What I understood was they were benchmarks throughout this journey. They were benchmarks throughout me progressing in life. And if I were to go back and change one decision, and you know, we always ask that if we could change one thing in life, what would it be? Well, there's a reality. If we go back and alter one thing, if we go back and change one thing, then we can't show up today as we show up because it took everything that you endured. It took everything that you experienced. It took everything that you were a part of to bring you to this very present moment. And I'm going to tell you one thing. I'm glad you're here with me. I'm glad that everything that happened to you happened. Now, hear me out. I'm very sensitive. about certain things that, probably sting and hurt and didn't feel good, didn't sound good, didn't look good, did not put us in a position of favor or a position that we loved, that we would have, that didn't put us in the position that we'd rather have been put in. But I'm telling you, it was everything that happened to you that brought you to where you are today. So I'm excited to get to meet you today. And I know I can't see your face, but I can communicate with you in the comments. I can feel your energy. I can feel your vibe. I can feel all of that. And I know that you have tuned into this podcast for a reason. So I want to make sure that when you leave this podcast, that you are reminded of who you are at your core. Who you are at your core. I want to remind you of that. Why? Because that is your best self. That is your best self. All right. So let's get to what we're going to talk about on today. I have been in a time or a season or a space, whatever language you put to it, of transition in my life. And I feel as if I'm always in transitions at times. One of the things I have learned this year is that I learned how not to fight transition as much as I used to fight it. I used to view transition as a punishment. I used to view transition as this is just how my life is going to be. So, it's never going to change. Now I look at transition as an opportunity. I really do. I view it as an opportunity because I know that if I'm in transitional moments, there are things that I need to release out of me and some things I need to release externally that are no longer either my responsibility, they no longer serve me, or it's just that time has expired. I have to release those things. And what I'm learning more and more is, or what I'm embracing more and more is the reality that the more that I'm willing to let go, the more opportunities that I begin to face in life. So the other night I was talking to my identity strategist. He's also my spiritual advisor, my pastor, Michael Weston. Check him out. You're Supernormal. www.yoursupernormal.com. Okay. So we were talking and I had taken a cohort in the summer, and right now that cohort is available. I encourage you, as I said, check out www.yoursupernormal, sign up for this cohort. Okay. But this cohort really began to deal with me in the sense of my identity and creating from my identity or structuring my business from my identity. And I realized that I really hadn't structured my business from my identity. I really hadn't taken the time to structure my business from the identity. I had allowed a lot of outside sources to influence how I navigated as a businessman. As a matter of fact, I realized that I hadn't navigated much as a businessman. To be honest with you. There was a struggle there with me in relationship to business because all I've known my entire life is education. I know I'm a great teacher. I know I work well with kids. I know I work well with families. I know all of those things. I know that I am a trusted voice, one that can communicate and articulate a message in a manner to make you grab hold of it and see, that there is not just hope, but see the possibilities that have always been there before your face. I understood all of that. But even in the midst of all of that, I did not embrace me as a businessman. And the reason why I didn't embrace me as a businessman is because I didn't like it. So therefore, I never really took time to study it. So because I never took time to study it, it was a part of me that felt like I couldn't be successful at it. If I'm going to be honest with you, if somebody if somebody were to ask me, Cliff, what's your dream job? My dream job would be to sit behind here on a microphone and talk to you, or sit behind this microphone and have a conversation with guests, or stand on the stage and share with crowds full of people, about embracing their best self. That would be my ideal job. That's all I would want to do. I want to travel the world and interview people from different cultures just to find out their mindset on purpose, to find out their mindset on transformation, to find out their mindset on identity and on their best self. That's what I would love to do. And that's great. It sounds beautiful. And people have encouraged me to do it. But very few people have came to me and said, okay, but what's the business behind it? What's the business plan behind it? What's the business structure behind it? What is the inner businessman telling you? Very few people address me with that. But this cohort with Michael Weston calls me to begin to dig deep within myself in areas that I had blocked off, in areas that I had put in a closet. Not that area that y'all probably are thinking, no, baby, I've been out of there. I don't even think I ever was in a closet with that, but that's not what we're talking about on today. All right. But anyway, there were things that I had really suppressed. There were successes I had suppressed. There were, certain things that I had a skewed perception of, skewed viewpoint of, or skewed memory of. There were things that I was still punishing myself from that happened when I was a teenager. So I began to go on that journey. And as I begin to go on that journey, somebody said that has nothing to do with business. It has everything to do with business. Has everything to do with business. Because one of the questions, it wasn't one of the questions. One of the things he told me was, you need to reevaluate how you show up. And I really sat with that and thought about that. And it really didn't hit me until later on. How do I show up? And then I realized that I show up based upon what I think that people need from me. And somebody said, well, that's not a bad way to show up. It is. Because what if I'm just having a bad day or I'm insecure in that day, and what it is that they need to show up, I'm insecure in that on today. So my perception of what they may need may be off. How about I just show up as me? And when I show up as me, I show up as everything that's needed. Why? Because I made sure that I become what I needed first. And that part was hard for me. And it wasn't hard because it was hard. It was hard because I told myself it was hard. Therefore, I never executed it, or I never just embraced it. Because some of the things that we say are hard, it's not that it's hard. It's just a reality of us just sitting in it. And that's really what I want to talk about tonight. And that's another funny story, because some of you heard me talk about me writing a book. Well, if I'm truthful, I'm 2 books behind, okay? 2 books behind. And it's not that I can't write. I mean, you read From Stagnation to Transformation. And if you haven't read From Stagnation to Transformation, I encourage you to go by our website at www.cliftonpettyjohn.com. And I encourage you to push that transformation tab, I believe it is, or it's a picture of the book. It's a picture of the book now. I forgot I updated the website. It's a picture of the book. Click on that. Get you a copy today, all right? But clearly I can write. But for some reason, I just did not want to write. And I kept making the excuse that I would write if I had somebody to sit down and I talk it to them and they, type it out. But then I had to come to a space with myself after a conversation with my identity strategist. Again, check him out, Michael Weston, www.yoursupernormal.com. Okay. But, I had a conversation with him, and in that conversation, I was telling him I just don't want to write this book. He was like, well, why don't you want to write the book? I was like, I don't know. He was like, well, you having, issues with being with yourself. And I was like, no, I don't mind being by myself, because in my mind, I'm always by myself. So I truly love being by myself. But there's a reality that we have to face, that Maybe we do love being with ourselves in certain circumstances and in certain situations, but there is a struggle that arises in different circumstances and situations when we're alone. So we keep talking and everything. And I said, well, I don't have any problem when I'm shooting a podcast by myself. I love to shoot the podcast by myself. I love recording videos by myself. I love it. I love it. I love it. And he said, yeah, you do. He said, but it's the silence that bothers you. He said, you need to sit in that silence and sit with yourself. And it was like, boom, just like that. The light bulb went off. It was an Oprah aha moment. I had an epiphany and I realized that's exactly what it is. I did not want to sit with myself in the silence. And many times I didn't want to sit with myself in silence is because that's when I'm the most judgmental of myself. That's when I'm the most critical of myself. That's when my mind starts to go back to certain circumstances and situations. And I begin to tell myself, if you hadn't done this, if you hadn't said this, if you hadn't went here, you might not be in this situation that you're in right now. But what if I'm in the situation that I'm supposed to be in right now? What if? And it's not even a what if, I am. I'm here. So while I'm here, I don't need to continue to waste time and reliving and replaying. That's why, I do that those breathing exercises before every episode. It's not just for you, it's for me as well. Because I may not go and live in the past anymore, but sometimes I pack up and take a trip for a weekend. And after I take that trip for the weekend, sometimes I extend my hotel stay there for another day or two, which is good. I mean, it's growth, it's progress. I don't live there anymore, but I also need to sit with myself, pinpoint where it is or what it is that causes me to want to go back and visit, so that the next time I go back and visit, I can tear down the hotel that I built. There's a hotel there and I got a full hotel just for me to go back. Nobody else is there. Well, there's a lot of people that take up residence there. They have homes built there. Okay. They don't stay at that hotel. They have homes built there. You have people like that too. All they know is your past. They judge you from your past. They talk about your past. They still communicate about you and with you as if you're in your past. And some of that adds to it too. But the reality is that if you move from there, you won't even be able to hear the conversations that they're having. If you move from there, you won't be able to be influenced by those conversations. You won't be able to be weighed down by those conversations. And here you go. You won't be able to start those conversations because sometimes it's us that starts those conversations. And for those that may not travel to the past, but you travel to the future, the possibilities of the future. It's the same principle that applies there. We're so in a hurry to get somewhere that we aren't taking advantage of what's right before us. And I encourage us to all sit with ourselves. Sit with ourselves. Prioritize. I've been talking about priorities, and I'm going to continue to hammer these priorities because one of the biggest things that we need to understand is that we should be our number one priority. I saw something on Facebook, and I get the principle. I get it. Don't think that I don't get it. I understand what is attempting to be said. They were saying your kids should come first. I don't agree with that. I do not agree with that. I believe that your health has to come first, whether your physical health, your mental health, your financial health, your career health, your social health, and all the core areas of your life, whatever core area of your life, your spiritual health. Did I say physical? I believe I said physical. I might have said it twice because I need to be on my way to the gym, but I'm sitting here recording this, okay? But I believe that you have to place yourself first as a priority. And then as you place yourself first as a priority, you can better serve your children, your family, your community, all that you desire to do. Why? Because you continue to burn yourself out by stretching yourself while you're empty. You're running on fumes instead of allowing yourself to be filled all the way up and then pour from your overflow. And then we want to talk about the kids. What example are we setting for the kids? Because they're seeing you prioritize everybody else except for yourself. Yo, don't think I'm not talking to me. I'm talking to me about this. I got pride. One of the greatest things that I am learning, or the greatest things that I'm embracing in this season, is the need to prioritize me even down to my rest. The need to prioritize me down to my physical health. There's a lot of things that we could avoid if we learn how to prioritize ourselves. And a lot of us are afraid to prioritize ourselves because that seems selfish. It is, and it needs to be done. Sometimes you need to be selfish. You need to be selfish. I know that's hard. I'm going to sit that right there for you. Cliff, WWJD, what would Jesus do? He rested. And it was times he sent him away and got by himself because he understood the need for his body to be replenished, to be restored. You can't just sit and run yourself down and then say, oh God, I'm calling on you. I need you to restore me on today. God. No, restore yourself. Restore yourself through making choices that prioritize you. Sit with yourself. Sit with yourself. I'm telling you, the more you sit with yourself, the more you won't see yourself from a judgmental state. Because a lot of us judge ourselves like crazy, yo. We are our worst judges. And then people come along and connect with that energy. And when they connect with that energy, they are able to transmute that on us. And we're thinking, oh, here they go talking negative about me. No, baby, they picked it up from you. They picked it up from us. I know, baby. I know it all too well. That's why I want you to prioritize you. I want you to prioritize you because you are important. You are that important. You are. And today you must make the choice to prioritize you. Listen, I want to throw this out to you before I go. It's very short today. I just released our course called Embrace Your Best Self. Embrace Your Best Self. Why? Because it's that inward work. It's the bracing and securing of who we are internally that will begin to determine how we move externally. And we'll find ourselves moving with more purpose. We'll find ourselves moving with more clarity. We'll find ourselves moving with more direction or greater clarity, greater direction. Because we are embracing ourselves. We're making ourselves a priority. We just hit the fourth quarter of 2021, okay? And I know that many of us have already checked out and we're in 2022. My goal with this course is to partner with 20 individuals. I'm going to partner with you to pull you back from 2022. Or if you haven't quite went to 2022 yet, to pull you from making the decision to go into 2022. I want to pull you back to the present. All right. I want to have these conversations with you. And then from those conversations, we're going to produce a plan of action. And it's going to be a little flexible plan of action because one of the things we're going to learn is that we need to learn how to be fluid. I talk about being consistently or to be fluid consistent. To be fluid consistent. Fluid is something that I kind of struggled with because I'm a Capricorn. So I like to plan everything out. I like to know everything. I don't like the fluidness of purpose at times. I don't like the fluidness of life at times, because if we're going to be honest, we can plan everything out all we want to. But there are there are circumstances and situations that happen that cause us to have to pause for a minute. Or want to use a football analogy, we have to call an audible at the line of scrimmage and now begin to change the play up. And that's okay. And we have to learn how to flow with that. So I want to pull you back. And I want you to sign up for this course, because this course is going to bring great clarity to you. It's a 7-week course. There's a $597 investment. That is a small investment, especially when it relates to what you're going to take away from that course. But it's less than $100 a session. Less than $100 a session. And check this out. Here's what I'm doing to the first 5 people that sign up. My mother, Alicia Pettyjohn, was the greatest person I ever met in my whole life. She unselfishly gave to the community, to the church, to family, to all of us, unselfishly gave, giving herself very little. Okay. So every time I think about giving and investing, I think about her. So here's what I'm going to do for the first 5 people. First 5 people that go over and sign up, you're going to receive a $97 scholarship. It's called the Alicia J. Pettyjohn Scholarship. All right. You're going to receive that scholarship. Okay. All you have to do when you go and register is enter the initials AJP, and it's going to apply that scholarship to the total amount. Okay. The total amount of your investment. Now, here's the great thing as well. You do not have to pay the full investment up front. You do have to pay a deposit, a non-refundable deposit of $150. That's an investment that shows me you're serious about this thing. So you subtract that $150 from that $500 if you're one of the first 5. What does that leave you with? $350. We'll break that down into weekly payments, bi-weekly payments, however we have to do it. But I want you to be a part of this course, all right? I want to partner with you, and I want us to finish this year stronger than we've ever finished in a year. Head over there, check it out, www.transformuinstitute.com. You'll get all the information over there. You'll also see a video over there that you can watch before you register, but I want you to register today. I'm telling you now, I don't want you to miss out on this. We're going to finish this year strong. We're going to carry that momentum into the next year, all right? Listen, as I always say, create a great day, walk with purpose, and by all means, execute your vision. Well, there you have it. That's today's episode of the Multidimensional Intelligence Podcast. If you want to be notified of all future episodes while having access to previous episodes, simply subscribe through your preferred listening platform. Also, if you feel inclined, leave us a 5-star rating and review. For those who want to remain connected to me and all things that I have going on, text me at 302-208-9440. Again, 302-208-9440. Until next time, peace.